Conversion is something we talk about all the time, and we all know what it is. We also know what our company goals are, but it's bigger than this. Conversion encompasses every single step of a guest's journey, from the greet to the discovery phase to the styling session, all the way to closing the sale. And whether you're a sales associate or an operations associate or a leader on your team, every action we take in our stores impacts this KPI. But beyond excellence in every step of a guest's journey, what else can we control that impacts conversion? Presence, focus, energy, and communication. These are four things that, regardless of what else is going on in your store, you always have control over these four pieces. And it can start really simply: being aware of your body language and of your tone of voice and of the expression on your face and how all of these things can be perceived by a guest. Which words you choose to say to welcome a guest into our space. Are you using open and energetic body language? Friendly, easy eye contact and smiles? Are you moving quickly with a purpose? It sounds so simple, but it's something that we really easily overlook. And it's something that requires a real vulnerability and self-awareness to reflect on: what does your presence look and feel like? So take a moment to reflect. How do you direct your full attention to your guests? And beyond directing your attention, it's also about directing your intention. Let's look at an example, because this goes beyond our sales and service team, and it also applies to our operations team as well. If you're working in the back of house and your intention behind your actions is to finish your job as quickly as possible, then you won't be paying attention to guests on the floor when you're running product back. You also won't be intentionally suggesting alternative product options when someone calls for a stock check and you don't have that item in stock. Take a moment to think about: how different would your team's conversion be if every single time you received a negative in a stock check, you were instead met with two alternative product options? That guest would now have 3 times as many options in front of them, and obviously they would be more likely to convert. But this isn't just in the hands of our back of house team. Our sales and service team has to communicate, not only when we're calling for these stock checks, but before calling for the stock checks, in the discovery phase with our guests. You have to learn enough about what this guest is shopping for in order to get your wheels turning to suggest an alternative option. Is it a different size that might work with the style that they're looking for? Is it a color that they'd be open to, or one that would encourage them to step outside of their comfort zone? A style that might fit their exact needs that you've uncovered. The other piece of real mastery that comes to conversion is taking ownership of your guests. Staying in close communication with your leaders about who you've talked to, what you've talked to them about, and what they're shopping for. When I was a sales associate, I always dreaded when my floor leader would ask me who I've talked to on the sales floor and what they're shopping for. And it's because I was so focused on these individual interactions, I'd have a hard time remembering who I'd talked to and who I hadn't. What I needed to do in those moments was expand my awareness, not just of the person in front of me, but of the movement on the sales floor all around me. Asking yourself in those moments: am I neglecting to talk to guests who are walking through my zone? If that person were to leave the store right now and I was their only point of contact, I would feel a sense of ownership over their experience in our stores. It takes a lot of focus to be able to master this. But if we're present and our energy is focused on guest experience, and we're communicating to our leaders and our teammates, it takes that stressful edge off. And instead of being challenging, it's enjoyable to foster human connection. While you should take ownership of your personal contributions to your team's conversion, ultimately, this is a team sport. We only win at converting guests if everyone is playing their part.